follow your dreams. And they say, do what you want, and money will come.
Hi, I'm Mike Miller. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks so much for watching The Other Side. My guest today is Jay Wagner. I hope you enjoy the show with Jay Wagner, a very successful songwriter who has traveled around America with his songs. Jay Wagner was a very popular entertainer in Denton before moving to Austin. He's played in Alaska, Portland, and really just all over the United States, mainly in the West and around in Texas. His music has been featured in TV shows, movies, Californication, Teen Wolf, and Suitcase Full of Sparks on the NBC show Blacklist. So I hope you enjoy his show today. Thank you for watching, and I'm Mike Miller. Have a great day. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for checking out the shows that I do. This is The Other Side, and I'm really honored today to have a guy I've known for quite. Thank you for being here.
It's good to be here.
So you've been living in Austin the last few years?
I've been living in Austin, I think, for the last 15 years.
Really?
I left for a year, though.
Yeah.
Had hand issues, and I went to become a park ranger in Joshua Tree.
Joshua Tree, yeah.
So I did that for a while, and ended up falling in love with riding again.
Yeah.
With the Park Service, and came back to Austin, and then I traveled around excessively as a musician for years. And
you played in Portland and you played in Alaska.
I mean, I play all over. You know, I play a lot in Alaska. Every summer, I do like 3 weeks in Alaska.
Yeah.
Or 2 to 3 weeks. And you know, Oregon, I'm up there twice a year. Washington, same thing. I used to play in Colorado all the time. New Mexico, Colorado, West Texas, Oregon. I mean, I played everywhere.
You grew up in Arizona?
I grew up in New Mexico, in Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to high school in San Antonio, and then I went to school in Denton, where I met you.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you did the open mic at Banter.
Yeah, Banter. Yeah, that was a great little place. I still think that did a lot to the community.
Yeah.
Because how like the songwriting community like really like learns or from each other is through those like open mics where you hang out. And
oh yeah.
Friends. All of my friends, all the ones that are really professional, the ones that I would say are famous now.
Yeah.
All met at an open mic. They're like, really? Oh, I met Rich or I met Greg at the open mic over here. I met, you know, Samantha. It's all like that's where everyone starts.
Yeah.
I think Banter was great.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of like I like performing with people, but I really like just writing songs and going out and testing them, and then trying to get other people to play them and stuff.
When did you put out your first album?
Oh, I mean, I've been doing albums with bands and stuff since I was 16 or something.
Really?
But I did a record a long time ago, maybe 2004 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. I mean, I couldn't listen to it now. I mean, there's like 2 songs in there I like, but the rest of it I would probably shoot myself. After I came back from Joshua Tree, in a Joshua Tree, they just had a name tag that said Jay Wagner on it. And so I started going by that.
Yeah.
And so I would say under that name, like, Disappears my second. Because I think I had one called Desert Needle Grass before that.
Yeah.
I really like writing songs and trying to like have other people cover them and try to get them away from me so I can just keep writing.
Yeah.
And I still perform all the time. I perform not during COVID, of course.
Yeah.
But you know, I perform 150 some shows to 170 or something like that a year.
And this guy, Bart Crow.
Oh, yeah, Bart Crow covered one of our songs. One of my songs I wrote with my friend.
Yeah. He has various videos out there of that song, and I've enjoyed watching those. That you've co-written with several people over the years, Elliot, and this song that's on the Californication TV show and Teen Wolf. Is that the Bart Crow.
That's one part. That's called If I Go, I'm Going.
If I go, I'm going. Yeah.
And it's right when I was leaving Joshua Tree. I just looked at some houses, and there was like these old houses that were falling apart out there in the Mojave Desert. And I sketched down a little thing about these houses. They're holding secrets and, you know, saving money, trying to leave, you know, but you can never really leave.
Yeah.
And then I ended up finished writing it. At first, I started writing it with my buddy John Elliott, and then he just lost interest and walked away. And it was great though, because he came up with a beautiful idea. And then I found my buddy Gregory, and then we finished it together. So it was one of those songs that was written in a weird kind of like, we were all at the Curva Folk Festival, and we were kind of like over here and over here and over here. And then I got a song, and it ended up becoming somewhat of a hit. And Gregory performed it, Gregory Isaacoff. He's performed it all over the place, and it's been tons of shows. I think.
That's great.
I think on my website I have a couple listed, but I think there's like The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, really?
Some other TV shows, and there's a milk commercial that used it.
Oh, really? That's good.
Yeah. So, and then I write a lot with Gregory. I try to co-write a lot with as much people as I can, because it kind of opens your mind.
Yeah.
Out of your like, it's because like when I sit down to write a song, I know that I'm writing it with me, but sometimes I have like a riff or like just one verse.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, this might be a song I should call Gregory for, or my buddy Ron.
Yeah.
And then we have a blast, like spending 3 or 4 days together working on 2 songs, you know. And I think that's going to be fun. A lot of people have a hard time writing with other people, but if you're writing with somebody who trusts you and you respect each other, then it's going to work.
Yeah. What would you suggest for people starting out in the business, like they have some song, how would they eventually get their songs into some movies or shows on TV or in that industry?
So that industry is a weird industry. Like I still don't really understand it. Like, but I know that I'm somehow, like I have a publishing company that represents some of my songs, and some of them they don't. And then, you know, and the number one thing is to get out of your own town.
Yeah.
And go to like the festivals where people hang around and chat. Go to those conferences, the folk conferences.
Yeah.
But don't go there to like become famous. Just go there to make tons of friends.
Yeah.
And magical stuff happens when you're around all that. Like just go as many places as you can, and just, you know, I mean it.
That's right. It's human interaction and just the.
Yeah, I see these people that are trying to do this on Facebook, where they're like, anybody know anybody that wants to cover this song? Can someone get this to the country artist? And I'm like, well, first of all, why don't you figure out who that country artist manager is? Why don't you write a letter to him? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do all that work? Why don't you get out of your house and try to like go to some place where all these different people are that might be, and just make friends. But there's people out there that I know that try to make contacts, and they're like, oh, I want to make a connection, you know, like those people are so greasy and slimy, like you feel like I'm hanging out with a swamp thing, you know, just like make friends and magical stuff happens. That's what I say. Make friends. And I mean, I'm still blown away that, you know, like I've been friends with Gregory Isaacoff for a long time, and he's written all these songs. We've written a bunch together, and stuff that his manager or his agency has placed them in and done all that stuff. It's just been wonderful. But
that's great.
I mean, we just started off singing Rubber Ducky one night, you know, as friends, and like then we wrote a song together, and then the next thing I know, you know, if you're just making friends, that's the way to do it, and just get out of the
Crooked Crow Festival. That's something you did a number of years.
Yeah, so Crooked Crow is a retreat that I run, and it's a songwriting retreat, and it's based off mythology, which sounds really cheesy, but it's all about approaching songwriting from a mythological standpoint.
Really?
And we have songwriters from all over the world now that come to it, and there's a lottery system to get in, because at first it was just like I thought everyone would think I was crazy doing this.
Yeah.
And but now we have like somewhat of like, you know, we only have 60 slots, and there's like maybe 200 some people trying to get in. So there's like a lottery we have to do, and
Yeah. Are y'all able to do that at a more distance level now?
so we had to cancel the 2020,
Oh, yeah.
and I mean we meet right near the border,
Yeah.
Texas and Mexico, in a little hot springs resort, and there's no towns around for hours,
Hmm.
and there's no internet access, and there's no cell phone access.
Oh, really?
So it's 4 days where you're writing with a
Yeah.
pen and paper, and it kind of takes you back into the time, and you're on the border. So kind of in mythology, there's always like a trickster, some sort of artist that lives along the border, you know, that has
Yeah.
his feet on both sides of the world, that never wants to agree with either way of thinking, but they're constantly stealing from each side,
Yeah.
you know. And so that's why I have it there. And it's kind of like, to me, it's like my songwriting world, my love for poetry, and Joshua Tree National Park
Yeah.
smashed together.
Yeah.
Because I teach people about the desert, and there's an arroyo there, and then you know, it's funny because we have people from like northern Canada come down, or
Oh, really?
from Great Britain, you know,
That's
or people
great.
from Ireland.
Yeah.
And, they're like in shock because they've never seen this, how beautiful the desert is, you know.
Oh, yeah. I bet
And
they love that.
and it's a 4 day retreat, and you know, a lot of people come from all over. I mean, it's just great, and it's not like a songwriting school. It's like I'm already a songwriter. I'm retreating back to like a beginner's Zen mind or something.
Really? Yeah. To get a deeper creative experience ultimately.
Yeah, sometimes people call me and they like, or they're emailing me, they're asking me, well, how many songs do you think? Will you teach me this? I'm like, you're looking for the wrong place. Like, if you want to like be taught how to write songs, this is not where you need to go. This is for people who are already working in song,
Yeah.
or are really involved in songwriting. They might be a doctor or whatever, but
Yeah.
and then we just get back into the philosophy behind songs. Why do we write? You know, we do really crazy poetic stuff. It's hard to explain it, but it's one of my favorite things I do all year long, and I look forward to it.
Yeah. Well, I hope you can get that going again in the future for sure.
Yeah, we will.
COVID settles down. And so Red Barn live sessions, you've done a number of videos there over the years. I like those.
Oh, he does up in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Really?
Yeah, the guy's real great. He does a bunch of those, like
Smiling Now, Red and Gold,
yeah, totally.
I'll Let You In, and Drank the Wine. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
That was Fayetteville as well.
that's the Fayetteville, Arkansas Roots
Yeah,
Festival. Yeah, they're every year they close. They have this huge festival, and they have like Iron and Wine and all these huge acts.
Really?
John Prine, you know, back when he
Yeah.
was alive. And then at the end of the festival, they close it with an old song of mine that I wrote in 1999 or something.
Really?
You know, I just had the chorus, and my friend Ron and I ended up finishing it together. And they close the whole festival every year with everybody on stage singing this song of mine. And it kind of gives me the goosebumps because I'm like, oh, here I am, like the song about drinking too much wine that I wrote when I was a wee lad, you know.
Looked like you were having a good time in that video.
Oh
though.
yeah, but I never want to play guitar. They always hand me a guitar, and I'm like, no, because everybody plays it differently.
Yeah.
It's hard to like not be in control of your own song.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I know how to sing it in your way, but I'm not going to start playing the guitar my way, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That would
I
be.
kind of like standing up there too, and just, you know,
Yeah. Really. That's best. Yeah. It was
just
really,
rocking it out while they take care of it, you know.
yeah. It looked like a really big crowd. The COVID has gone on so long, I've forgotten what crowds look like. You know.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait for this to be over with, you know. Like, I miss like this.
Yeah, being on stage and performing for others, seeing everybody having a good time right there, not just through a little computer screen. Yeah.
There's a little place about a half a mile from my house called Don's Depot,
Yeah.
and it's just an old train caboose or something turned into a little bar, and it's been there forever.
Yeah.
And we just have a couple country acts just like bare minimum playing at, you know, like 8 o'clock or something at night.
Yeah.
And I just love going there and getting a Guinness or something or a Lone Star or whatever and just
Yeah.
listening for an hour or so. And I just totally missed that. I didn't know I realized how much I would miss just sitting there listening to live music.
Yeah.
And I miss like getting together with friends and you're not afraid to touch them, or you might be singing too loud, or you might be COVID killing them, you know, or
Yeah. Spraying with germs.
yeah. You know,
When, like right after it first occurred, did you feel inclined to write more, or how did that affect you?
well, I was getting ready to leave on a tour. I was going to go play in Oregon I'll play at this hotel for 7 days. It's like bar, Irish, McMinimans.
Yeah.
And that got canceled, and then all my gigs around that got canceled.
Yeah.
And then Alaska got canceled. And I was just in shock. I was just like, no, this can't be done. And
Yeah.
and because I'm like, well, hold on, because where am I going to? I mean, there's not any places to go apply for work, you know, at that time, back in March.
Yeah.
And so I was freaking out because I mean, I make a living as a musician. So like, if you take away the performing part, that's like a good 50%, 60% of what I do. So
Yeah.
but it ended up working okay. And then I ended up doing a little gig here and there, and I survived. And then there was like they passed that self-employment, unemployment. So anyway, so for like
Pandemic
3 months,
or something.
yeah, for 3 months or so, I got unemployment, which was still blew my mind. I'm like, because I was really offended at first that like, you know,
Yeah.
I even went to HEB, or the grocery store here in Austin, and I went to HEB to try to like see what kind of work I could do. And there was like a line of like high school kids in front of me, you know.
Yeah.
That you can't compete with in that job, you know. Like,
No.
and so yeah, it worked out, and I'm doing great. I'm doing fine, and the work's coming back, and but there was a moment when I was scared to death, you know. So
yeah.
but it's going good.
Things will get better. I think that now that the vaccines are out there being circulated and people are taking them,
Well, I got that Crooked Crow songwriter retreat booked for October. I mean, I got the place reserved and
yeah,
got money down on it already. And
the world is so overpopulated, I guess, these days.
I watched this thing with Jane Goodall, and she was saying that all these different viruses all come from like some sort of like slaughtering house or some sort of like meat industry, you know. Like,
oh, really?
She named all these different viruses that come from like this one comes from, you know, like a wet market of bats or something. Or
oh, really? Yeah.
And the other one came from the bird chicken thing, and the swine flu, and the something, you know.
Yeah.
That all these viruses die out in the wild when we start like having all these slaughtering houses all over the place. That it's like a breeding ground for. Anyway, it's on YouTube. Jane Goodall. I don't know, like recent interview. It's a great little, makes you think.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. It makes sense. Slaughterhouses are so nasty, but it's just not a natural thing.
Yeah, that's what she's saying too. That.
Yeah. Yeah. So what kind of guitar do you play these days usually?
Well, I have this Taylor back behind me.
Yeah.
But I have one called the Huff, and it's built by my friend Aaron Huff, and he's one of the main guys out at Collins Guitars. And he built it for the my writer's retreat.
Oh, really?
We nicknamed it the Crowtar because there's a big crow in the middle of it. And
yeah.
I would say it's my main guitar, and this one's kind of like the Honda Accord, like it does the job. It always shows up. Like, everybody knows how to fix it.
Yeah.
And then I have another one, a Baird guitar, which my buddy Baird in Fayetteville built for me.
Really?
Yeah. And then I have two Telecasters.
Yeah.
So when I play electric, I use, one has humbuckers and one has a single coil, and I try not to get too guitar nerdy, but it happens.
So you perform with Telecasters sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I've done that, but not as often. Or I've been backing up a friend here and there or something.
Oh yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
But I do like playing. I've been singing more and more with the Telecaster. And,
Yeah, they're good guitars.
Yeah.
Used by
But I'm definitely an acoustic player. Like, I'm just now getting back into the electric. When I was a kid, I went off to school to study jazz, electric, and now like I don't really do any of that stuff anymore. Other than I like songwriting. I like
Yeah.
songs accessible. I don't like playing fancy riffs that are unneeded.
Yeah. Do you sometimes add lead parts to your recordings?
I've done that a little bit. The last record, I think I have a little bit of electric on there, like maybe like just smidgens of some volume swirls. But I think, to be honest with you, I don't think I have any electric.
So do you have, it seems like I could hear some percussion, some snare and brushes on some of the songs.
Yeah, the last record, it was pedal steel.
Oh, really?
Which I'm really a big fan of.
Yeah.
I think it does the job that I want, like, because I like volume swirls on the electric guitar, and they always end up playing too much when you hire somebody, or like, stop, just do volume swirls. And the pedal steel guy is always like, whoa, whoa. That's like his job. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Great, you're doing that. And so there was bass and Fender Rhodes and organ, I think I put on there.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a little bit of drums on there too.
Is it usually the same person who does your percussion?
Well, last time I went out in the Dripping Springs area of Texas, and there was a little studio out there with a guy named Patrick Hurstfield.
Oh yeah.
And he's a percussionist, and so I just let him do all that. And then he's also a great, like one of those amazing harmony singers, like those kids that grew up in some sort of Church of Christ where they weren't allowed to play instruments, but they could sing. They had to sing harmonies all day long.
Yeah.
And I probably would have hated going to the church, but now I look back, I wish I would have been forced to go to one of those churches where you just sing harmony parts all day long. So he was just this great harmony singer, and when I couldn't do the harmony, he would do them. And it's great. It's a fun recording session.
Yeah, yeah.
But they take forever, and
it's tedious.
You discover things about your voice you don't like, or you discover things about your voice that you didn't think you could do that you're doing, and then you do a record and you're like, oh, that's it, and then a month later you're like, I gotta do another one. I can't stand it.
Well, you have some good material out there, and I think you're a very poetic writer, just as I overall listen to your songs.
Thanks. I really like working on a line over and over again.
Poetic imagery.
Until it stands on its own.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm working on some songs right now, and they're like, I hear them, I see them, but there's each line doesn't excite me. I need each line to oh, that's like Dylan Thomas, or that's like so and so, or that's
Yeah.
And it doesn't even know. I don't know if people even really care, but I know to me it's that's what I've been doing for years, and it somehow pays the bills, so I should just keep doing it. I don't know.
Yeah. What makes it more enjoyable to me as a listener, for sure, just to encounter those visual images and the way you describe things.
Oh, thanks. I really like it.
And I hope you have a great future. I guess we're just all trying to ride out the COVID at this point, but I know you'll be putting out more albums as the years go on. You've got a lot of material already.
Yeah, I got a bunch of new songs, but
really?
doing a record's a good 15,000. printing things up and doing all that stuff. So,
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
so I'm always like, oh, like I got to do a lot of praying and sending out emails and doing the Kickstarter thing, and that's always like wonderful. You feel great, but you're always like, oh my God, this is gonna collapse, you know.
It's a lot of pressure on people.
Yeah. It's a great. It's always amazing that I survive every year, you know. But every now and then I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of work. Even though it's not really working. It's doing something you love, but it's also there's parts of it that you don't necessarily love, you know.
Yeah, but it brings a lot of enjoyment to a lot of people. Music is so important in kind of music or arts, you know.
Oh yeah, people tell me that a lot. It reminds me that.
Have you been doing very many like online shows?
No, I haven't done any of those. I mean, I performed for a church online. They had all the little like 57 little people.
Yeah.
Played some songs, but I haven't done any of those online things. And people keep asking me. I just get nervous. I just feel awkward. Like I feel like maybe my voice is gonna like smash the speaker, and I'll be like, I'll cut out or.
No, I think you should do more. Yeah, I think you should start doing some of those in the future. People would enjoy them, I think.
Yeah, I get requests from all the time, and I'm flattered about that. I just get as much as I can perform on a stage, and somehow this.
It's different.
Yeah.
Different experience. Well, it's been great getting to talk to you today, and I enjoyed your music so much back in the past and hanging around with you, and all the, like you say, the banter activities and rubber gloves. And Denton's a fun town, and Austin is too. So.
Oh yeah, it is. Denton's great. I haven't been there. Well, I was there about 6 months ago, but we couldn't go anywhere. So.
Yeah. Well, I do wish you good luck with everything, and hope to be able to stay in touch with you over the years. And thanks so much for being on my show today.
Yeah, back at you. Thanks for asking.
I hope to talk to you soon, and you have a great day.
All right, same to you, buddy.
Okay, and thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it, and hope you have a great day.
Was the sound of a wounded rumor. It was the creeping of a careless wind, running past the burning blacktop. Now we're someplace we've never been. We got tangled up like lovers do in the haunted sounds of the past. Now you're kicking around at all your questions. Honey, I keep trying to confess, and we can keep burning time. Yeah, we can keep burning time, but it ain't, no, it ain't gonna keep us warm. It was love that lost to loyalty, but it was I that lost the fight. And there's a strong room that keeps on sweeping up all the pieces we've left behind, and all our sins have been salted, so our river now runs with brine. And we found the game and the gamble, now it's comfort that's a crime. And we can keep burning time. Yeah, we can keep No, it ain't gonna keep us warm. There's a tea kettle whistling in the kitchen, leaves rustling out on the porch. I was once singing at your harbor, now I'm howling at your door. We can keep burning time, yeah, we can keep burning time, but it ain't, no, it ain't gonna keep us warm.
And they tell me, follow your dreams. And they say, do what you want, and money will come.